Hi friends! Hello! Hi guys! We are back in business. So basically I've been gone. I'm very tan right now. I've basically been gone and my hair is completely different. I've basically been gone for a week and just like changed my entire life. Yeah, we're just gonna do a get ready with me because I feel like that's the best way to like catch you guys up on everything, fill you in on everything. I just bought this. It's the Hangover RX 3-in-1 from Too Faced. I've always wanted it. 20% off at Ulta for no reason, so I just kind of took advantage of that. So we're just gonna, let's just start with my hair, I guess. My hair is bright pink and purple. I know it kind of looks like reddish on camera, but it is a lot more pink in person. It's like bright pink with my roots, and kind of up here you can kind of see is more purple, tints of purple. Why did I do this to myself? Basically, after, you guys can go check out, I have a hair horror story on my channel where I talk about a few months ago, back in February, where the hair lady literally turned my hair like bright orange when I wanted like a blonde balayage. I finally had that blonde balayage like pretty much exactly where I wanted it. I hate that awkward time between when you make tea and when you're like waiting to drink it, where it's just way too hot to drink it, but then suddenly it's cold. So I'm trying to keep an eye on this tea. I basically had that balayage exactly where I wanted it. Like it was exactly what I wanted and everything was great. Like my hair was perfectly blonde. It was everything I wanted initially. And then I just got really bored, if I'm being completely honest. I just kind of woke up one day and looked in the mirror and was like, by the way, if you hear people like talking and joking in the other room, or you hear like voices of lots of men, my boyfriend is having a D&D campaign at our house tonight. And I think they might be like getting really into it. So if you just hear like random voices, I apologize. They said they were gonna keep it down, but at the end of the day, like there's only so much you can do. So working on getting a microphone soon, so hopefully I can like drown out excess noise. But yeah, I just woke up one day and I was like, I am so bored of the blonde. Like I was just over it. And the blonde was looking pretty, like it looked good. It didn't look bad or anything, but it was just like boring. I went to the same hair lady who I went to who fixed my hair last time. And I was like, hey girl, I know we were just gonna put more blonde in and like try and fix the blonde and make the blonde really good, but I'm bored. So I want like bright. And I was like, I can't really decide if I should do pink or purple. Like I just can't decide. And she was like, why not both? And I was like, you can do that. So I didn't really realize, I've never had more than one color. I had blue a while back. I think that was before I had my YouTube channel. I had blue hair for a while and I really liked that, but it was really subtle. If you weren't in the sun, you couldn't like fully see the blue. So I kind of liked getting something that you can like, it's like bam in your face, but it also has a really pretty gradient because it goes from like my deep root, like my dark roots, down to the purple, down to the pink. And the cool part about it, because I really didn't want to like re-bleach my hair, because if you've ever bleached your hair, you know how kind of awful it makes your hair feel. Like it just makes your hair feel like straw. It doesn't really feel that great. So I didn't really want to re-bleach it. So she was like, well, we can just put it in with the blonde and just kind of see how it goes. And we put it into the blonde and it came out like super, super vibrant and pretty, which I was super, super happy about. But yeah, I kind of kept the hair a secret on like all my social media. So I don't know if you guys have really seen this yet. I don't think I posted anything about it on Twitter. I feel like I wanted to just be in a video one day and be like, surprise, I'm a mermaid. I went over to my friend's house and like showed them last night. And my one friend was like, did you not rebel enough as a teenager? So you had to. Really what I think it is, why I kind of wanted to do something so bold and like colorful and crazy, is because this coming semester in school, I won't have any like professional obligations really all year. I don't have like internships or anything, but then my senior year of college, I'm gonna have like a year-long internship at that school, like with school. So I wanted to do whatever like fun, crazy thing I was gonna do now. So let's talk about other things going. I just got home when? Today's Saturday. I got home almost a week ago from a music festival I went to with my friends. It was my boyfriend, my boyfriend's brother, who, he has a twin. A lot of you guys, like, some people like tripped out on Instagram a little bit because I posted a picture with both of them and people were like kind of confused. He has a twin brother, but basically I went with him, his brother, and then 2 of our like other friends, and we had so much fun. We had such a good time. We saw like so many different bands. I'm trying to think of who I saw. I saw Kendrick Lamar, which was a really good show. That was a lot of fun. I saw Portugal the Man. They sing that song that's like Feel It Still. I saw Eminem, which was like, I'm not like the biggest Eminem fan. He's not like my ride or die, but he's just such a legend that it was so cool to see someone who's been so famous for so long. And his show was like phenomenal. It was really, really, really good. I saw The Killers, who are one of my favorite, they're probably my favorite band, I would go ahead and say. I saw Lil Wayne, which was like another person who's just been famous for so long. That it's so crazy. I'm trying to think who else we saw that was like notable. A lot of really good like smaller bands. One of my favorite singing artists is Betty Who. You guys probably don't know who she is because she's pretty small. But I literally am obsessed with her. Like, I know her album The Valley is like easily in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. It was really cool because I actually didn't know this. We didn't know until we got there, but we looked at the schedule, and not only did she have a main show performance, so she was performing on like the big stage with like thousands of people coming to it, but she was doing like an intimate concert where she was like singing all of her songs acoustic without her band and stuff for like 100 people. So we got there early for that, and I ended up being like 3rd row. I'll insert a little video clip right here.
She's beautiful and I just can't compete, but I'll ride with you, die with you, I'd spend my life with you, stuck with me, fuck with me, so come make love to me. I know she's sweet, but she isn't me, where she lies in your eyes, that's where I wanna be.
You guys ignore my singing because I sang through the entire weekend. It was really awkward like listening back to the clips because I'm gonna put a little vlog together for you guys, and it was so funny listening back to the clips because you can just hear me like jamming out in all of the clips. I don't like think about the fact that I'm recording when I'm at concerts, I just sing. So of course when you go to like a music festival, I am completely like, I don't drink, I don't do any sort of drugs or substances. I don't really care if other people do, it's just like personal preference, and like all my stuff, like I just don't do that. So this is my 4th music festival, I believe, that I've gone to where I've been like the completely sober one. And it actually works out because my boyfriend doesn't drink either. Just for medical reasons he doesn't drink. So we both are just like sober Sallies all weekend, which is fun. But we kind of had some issues this year. We went to this festival last year and had a fantastic time. But this year we kind of noticed that there were more and more like actual children there, like kids who were like 16, and it's a camping festival. So like we just noticed that there was a really large influx of children at the event, and like 16-17-year-olds who like were just obviously there to get really, really, really intoxicated, just have a weekend where their parents couldn't yell at them, which like when I was 16 or 17, if I lived near a really awesome music festival that had camping, like of course you're gonna take advantage of that. Like we were all that 16-year-old kid, but I feel like allowing kids that young that much unfiltered, like, and it sucks because I know there are kids who went that are like underage that were completely respectful, completely fine, had no issues, and so I kind of feel bad for them because like they didn't do anything wrong. I feel bad for them because I feel like they kind of got a bad name for what was happening, but unfortunately from what we saw, the majority of kids that were there, like the majority of like 16, 17 to probably like 19, pretty much 20-year-olds were pretty good, but anyone that was under the age of 19, we really saw kind of like the immaturity and stuff, I guess you could say. I don't really know a better word for it. Just a lot of kids being very, very, very intoxicated and not doing it safely. Like, a lot of kids normally, like, when I did used to drink in college, we would have one friend who was like the designated friend to like stay sober and make sure everybody was okay. And I didn't see that happening at the festival, which was kind of concerning. And also a lot of kids that were like being really rude to like other festival goers, which is probably the biggest problem I had. Was there was a group of guys in our row. You guys will see in the vlog kind of how the rows were set up. But basically it was set up like there was just a row of cars and then tents and sunshades, and everyone had like their own plot where they could camp and everything. And unfortunately in our row, we had a group of people, a group of young men who every girl that walked by, every single girl all day, it's like they didn't even go inside the festival. Every single girl they walked by, they would just like throw things at them and catcall that girl. And it got to a point where like people were actively trying to like go around to avoid this group of guys because they were being so obnoxious, and their site was like completely trashed, just like red Solo cups and beer cans literally everywhere. And I don't know, and also there was this group at the end of our campsite. There was this group of boys, and they were like all weekend, they were standing under, they had this truck, this like black truck. I'll try to find a picture to insert what it looked like at the end, but all weekend they were just like standing on top of their truck, like chugging bottles and like dancing and like trying to like get the crowd riled up. And then we walked back on one of the last nights. I guess someone had thrown a bowling ball at their windshield, completely crashed the whole windshield and like destroyed it. And the windshield was completely like gone. All of the the side mirrors were completely crashed. The car was all scraped up, like it was a mess. And they had a little hat on their window, on their like their front thing, that was like, oh, tips to buy a new windshield, which I hope nobody donated to, because those kids were just being idiots all weekend, and then their car got destroyed. But like they were like rude. Like people would go up to them and be like, oh, like what happened? And you'd think if you're asking for tips for help, you'd be like nice and like funny about it, or like see the humor in it. But they were like, we've beat up like 10 other people for saying the same thing, and like they were just like doing drugs and like being really aggressive. And like I could say there's so many other stories. Like there was a girl, well, first of all, on the Sunday morning of the festival, like it was Father's Day, Sunday morning it was the last day of the festival, we found out that somebody had passed away in the campgrounds. A girl who was like 20, and it makes me so sad. She passed away from alcohol. To me, that's just absolutely heartbreaking. Like nobody should go to a festival and not come back. You know what I mean? Like that's just absolutely unacceptable. Like absolutely heartbreaking. And then that night I was sitting in the bathrooms, and these people just like left their incredibly intoxicated friend. She was she couldn't even lift her head up. She was so intoxicated, and they left her to go see a concert. And I confronted them, and I was like, you have to get her to a medic. Like she needs an IV because she's too drunk. Like they won't get you in trouble. You just have to go. And they were like, no, like she's fine, like she'll be okay. And they just left her there. And so I had to go get a medic. I play mom. I felt like I was playing mom all weekend. I know that like you can't stop kids who are underage from drinking. Like I understand that. I'm not stupid to that. But and I don't know if maybe I'm just getting old and I'm like, these kids. But it just felt, and also when we left the festival on Sunday, like our Monday morning after everything was over, I got my eyebrows done when I got my hair done, and I feel like a new woman. I feel amazing. When we left, normally it's like every year, it's pretty much like pick up what you leave. Like try not to leave too much trash, because the whole festival takes place in the woods basically. And like there are cleanup crews that come through, but they like give you trash bags, and you don't even have to like take your trash with you. Just leave it in bags at the end of your campsite, and people will come around and take care of it. And people just left their sites. It was so gross. Just the way, the blatant like disrespect they very obviously had for the festival and for like the site that we were using. It was really bad. I was really upset. Just seeing all of the trash. And even like the good thing about it was people who left their equipment, because some people left like full-on setups, like tents and pillows and stuff, and like sunshades. But I found out later that all of that stuff went to a charity that helped like give that stuff to homeless people who might need it, which made me happy. But it was still just the fact that people would leave like red Solo cups, trash, like food, like gross stuff all over the campground and not even be respectful enough to just put it in a trash bag. Like, it took us probably 10 minutes to clean up our whole site and make it look spotless. And it just the like laziness and the disrespect a lot of kids have. And I'm not just saying kids to generalize, because like I knew what camps people were staying in and I knew the relative age of those people. So I know that the ones that were the dirtiest were left by like teenagers. And again, we kind of like were talking about it. There's a Firefly Reddit for this festival. And a lot of people were talking about it being like, you know, and it's not, to me, it's not like festival ruining. Like, none of that stuff ruined my time, or like people leaving trash didn't like, or like kids being jerks didn't like ruin my time or anything. But it definitely does put a little bit of a damper on a weekend that you spend so much money on. So a lot of people in the subreddit are actually now pushing to have camping 21 plus to try and discourage drinking. And I've got to say, like, underage drinking, and I've got to say, like, I really agree with it. Like, I feel like if an underage person dies because of alcohol, like, there needs to be changes made. And the other thing, too, that was really different about this year, security was a lot tighter this year, which a lot of people were annoyed about. I was fine with it because, to me, first of all, I'm just overly anxious, so like that's fine with me if you want to amp up security. But they were being really picky. They were being really picky about things that I didn't feel like it was as big of a deal. I have a no glass rule, so people weren't supposed to bring bottles of alcohol with glass, like made of glass. But they've had that rule for years and they've never enforced it. So while we were like going in, people were like frantically trying to find plastic containers to like put all their alcohol in. And instead of like carding kids who might be under 21 to take away that, they were just like taking away legal age people's drinking bottles. And I found out later that luckily this didn't happen to me because they didn't really search our car. I think we were in a line where they just kind of like didn't really care because they barely searched us. I found out later on the subreddit that
people were taking people's makeup. Like
taking foundation bottles and taking mirrors and palettes. I don't know, this felt like a line that was crossed. They were taking people's foundation bottles and taking people's eyeshadow palettes because they had mirrors in them. And I was like, wow, I've never fought somebody before. Like, I've never fought a security guard, but I definitely would if they tried to take any of my makeup. Because that stuff, I know alcohol's expensive and everything, but like makeup, like I understand an alcohol bottle because it's like you could hit someone over the head with it. But when I heard makeup was getting taken at the gate, I was like, oh my God, the horror. Like, I can't even imagine. I don't know, security is so hard. Let's even, just like a good bridgeway to that, I feel like, is to talk about Tanacon. This is like all still kind of happening, so I'm not gonna do like a full this is pigmented, wow. I'm not gonna do a full like, oh, my thoughts on Tanacon, because I don't really have a lot of thoughts. But I did want to talk about it with you guys and just give you guys like a quick opinion about it. So basically, if you guys don't know what Tanacon was, Tana Mojo tried to create, like, she had this whole issue with VidCon, which is another YouTuber convention, which her points about VidCon were pretty valid. Like, what they did to her did seem pretty messed up. And I think the majority of people can agree with that. That, like, if you're going to put somebody on your billboard, you can't get mad at them for showing up and causing a scene. You know what I mean? Like, I understood where she was coming from. But so she wanted to create this event called Tanacon, which was basically the same thing as VidCon, but like it was free and you got to meet all of these awesome creators. And I was actually like following along with the listing they were posting. Shane Dawson was going, he never goes to conventions. Casey Neistat was going. All of these really big famous YouTubers were going. And I was actually like low-key rooting. I feel like a lot of us were like low-key like rooting for this because it is a good idea. VidCon is really a scam if you think about it. Like, they charge so much money for tickets and so much money for everything, and they don't even pay the creators to be there. They just pay for their hotel room. Like, they expect the creators to be there for the whole weekend, and they don't even offer to pay them and like all of this stuff. So I felt like the idea of Tanacon was actually like, and to like let people who don't have money still get the chance to meet their favorite creators. If you're gonna have a convention where the artists are the YouTubers are gonna be there for free, why aren't the tickets free or super reasonably priced to just like cover the cost of the venue? That was like my thinking. So I actually really agreed with what she was doing. And I was kind of rooting for her. Like I was really hoping it was gonna go well for her. Because I don't know, but here's the thing. First of all, it was bad. While I can root for her all day long, at the end of the day, I knew that this was gonna be kind of a disaster just because it's who was running it. Like Tana is notorious. She's kind of made a brand off of being a mess and being a hot mess and being like not responsible, not the brightest bulb in the drawer. Like she's definitely made a reputation based on that. So of course everyone was pretty skeptical of like, what is she gonna do? I was really skeptical. I personally would not have bought tickets to the first ever event this girl did, but basically the day of Tanacon was yesterday, and she claims that 20,000 people showed up and they only sold 5,000 tickets and people just showed up for free tickets. And there's a whole debate of like, oh, well, you told people it was free and just to come through, which she did, but she also did like pre-sale tickets. And so there's a whole debate right now of like who's at fault and like, are people getting refunds? The fire marshal, people like were waiting in the sun, I guess, for hours. And like the fire marshal had to come and completely shut everything down and all of this like crazy stuff was happening. And Tana was still trying to be like, no, we're having like, we're moving it to a bigger venue tomorrow. And the issue with this whole thing, I think, is kind of like people don't really know who to blame. Because is it Tana's like convention because it's called Tanacon? Of course. But did she obviously like plan all of this by herself? No, like obviously a lot of this was planned. It was going on by Good Times Live. And I guess now they couldn't get another venue, so they're like saying they're going to refund tickets, but a bunch of people have said that they've emailed them about refunds and the company has basically said they're not refunding tickets. It's a mess. People waited outside, I guess in the sun. There was like a huge line. People were waiting in line for like 6 hours to try to get in. And it was a mess. The line like wasn't moving. And the reason that was is because Tana claims the capacity of the hotel was 5,000 people. And that's why they sold 5,000 tickets or just under 5,000 tickets. But the actual capacity of the hotel, according to some people, is like 1,500 people. A lot of people are like blaming Tana. A lot of people are like, it's not her fault. It was her first convention. She's a child. She's 19. Like it was her first time trying. At least she tried. Here's the way I kind of think about it. Do I think it's Tana? And also, the other thing is like she planned this whole thing in like a month because she made her first initial video about VidCon like a month ago. And she basically planned this whole convention just to be petty towards VidCon and like host it the same day as them. So I think more of her motive about being petty and less about actually putting on a good convention. But I do think she like tried. And the biggest problem I see going forward for this is, number one, is she going to attempt this next year with more planning and more time or anything? And number two, are they going to refund people who actually did pay for tickets? I don't know. As far as who's to blame, I think it's a group. I think it's like a collective thing. I think you definitely have to put some blame on Tana for sort of the way that she promoted this, because she definitely promoted it in a, I don't think she realized how many people were going to show up. I'll give her that. But I think she definitely promoted it in a like, oh, just like come on by, we'll have tickets for you, and not a like, oh, it's an exclusive event, you have to have a ticket. Like she did not promote this well. But I think some of the blame has to fall on like Good Times Live, the people running, the adults around her, because whether you want to say 19 is an adult or not, that's not an adult enough to like run a convention like this. Like she obviously had help, and I think the people around her who were supposed to be helping her organize this definitely like didn't do their part. I do think her heart was in the right place. I think the idea for Tanacon was a fantastic idea, and I think had it been executed properly, it could have been a really good thing. And it had it been executed by another creator who kind of knew more of what they were doing. Like if Shane had done this, I think it could have been a lot better. And the people I feel the most bad for are not only the fans that showed up, and some people like flew across the country and like paid a whole bunch of money to be there. I not only feel bad for the fans who waited, didn't get in, paid a ton of money in travel, paid money for tickets, like wanted to meet their favorite creators and couldn't. I feel the most bad for them. And then the second most people I feel bad for are the creators that actually like trusted her and put their faith in her, because she got a lot of big names to trust in her and go to this event and kind of put their names on the line. And it sucks because this definitely not only reflects badly on her, obviously, because it's her name, but it also really reflects badly on them. And they honestly, at the end of the day, those are the people that had no part in it. They had no part in the making of it. They had no part in the security aspect of it. But they are the ones that are going to end up getting screwed for it too. Almost like you kind of created the mess, but like you also couldn't have anticipated it, but also you should have anticipated it, and the people around you should have been telling you. It's just a really messed up situation. I think the only way they can fully rectify it is to not only refund tickets, which I know this will never happen because no company does this, but they have to not only refund tickets, they really should be refunding people for the travel that they made to get out there, because that's expensive. If you flew from like where I am, that would be a good like $400 to $500 plane ticket, which a lot of these kids are like kids, so that's a lot of money for their parents to spend. So even though I know that won't happen and they won't refund all of those things because that's kind of an unprecedented move, I definitely feel bad for everyone involved. And I also feel bad because I think more of it is like the coolest part about Tanacon, like the thing that was the best part about it, was that it was going up against this corporation that seems to have over the years kind of lost their way. And like a corporation that really doesn't seem to remember why they started doing what they're doing in the first place. And so it was less of like me rooting for Tana herself and more for me rooting for like an underdog situation. You know what I mean? Like I definitely wanted to see the underdog win in this one, and they definitely did not. They did not succeed. Let me know down below what you guys think of the whole situation, because I'm definitely a little conflicted. Part of me was definitely rooting for Tanacon, definitely rooting for it to set a new precedent for these companies. I was hoping that it could be done, that you could have something that was very affordable, but people could still meet people they wanted to meet and have that type of experience. But based on everything that happened, I'm not sure like how feasible that goal actually is. I definitely didn't feel like it warranted a whole video because I definitely wasn't at the event. So I feel like I can't say exactly what happened and what people should do. But I think regardless, like that's just a sad situation. It's just kind of, money was lost no matter what way you look at it. So yeah, I'm sorry this was like more of a chilled, laid back get ready with me. I've kind of was just like, I've been so sick. Everybody I went to this festival with got incredibly sick. And all the people at the festival, it seems like based on the Reddit, are super sick. I found out the last day we were there that there was actually like an air toxicity warning, and people weren't really supposed to be outside because the air was really bad. But we were sleeping in a tent outside. We couldn't exactly avoid the outside. So I personally think it had something to do with that, because everybody has like upper respiratory infections. It's the weirdest thing. I'm just gonna throw on this Over Liquid lipstick in Verona. I got this in my BoxyCharm this month and I've been obsessed with it. Alright, so that was my video. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys liked the look we created. I hope you guys liked just talking to me. I've missed just like sitting down and talking to you guys so much. I'm filming a few other videos right now, so if you see this look again, that's why. I love you guys. If you like this video, please like. Also, let me know your thoughts on like everything down below. I love you guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're watching me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!